We're here on a winter day where it's supposed to rain pretty soon, so we're going to try to get this video in quickly and not get all wet. We're here at a garden that we actually redesigned and landscaped 18 years ago, and now the owner wants to turn it into a Xeriscape and abandon all the fescue lawn, try to make it much more water efficient. I'm John Valentino, a landscape architect and a landscape contractor. I'm here with Chip Valentino, my assistant, and we're at a garden that we're going to turn into a Xeriscape, meaning a dryscape or water efficient garden. We don't think Xeriscape means something that has to be dry and arid. Tune in and we'll show you some of the features we think are important. So water efficient gardens, I'm a big fan of, particularly when done in a way that they're beautiful. And we don't think you need to sacrifice anything in terms of beauty to do something that is water efficient and also improves the lives of its owners. And we think that's a big part, should be a big part of landscaping. So we like to stress using the front garden. And you can do that with front courtyards, and we installed a little one here. With shade for the house to cut down on energy bills, and for ways of getting use out of the garden. And sometimes it can include edible food. This garden lends itself very well to being water efficient, except that it has a big tall fescue lawn, and tall fescue in our area where it's very hot in the summer requires a lot of water. The owner, Eileen, now wants to turn this into a water efficient garden, and so we're going to show you exactly how we're going to do that. In this first video, we're just going to show you the concepts, and then we'll have some follow-up videos. Originally, we were involved in this garden in 2003 and 4. And we'll show you the design where we changed it from really a very traditional American garden that had mostly lawn right up to the house. We took out that lawn, and it had a small little courtyard, but nothing in the courtyard. We changed the courtyard to be an integral part of it. We like the idea of trying to make usable spaces in the front yard, and this is a big theme of water efficient gardens, where we take up space with little courtyards we can use, so that it's no longer something that you just walk through to get to the front door, but hopefully we can use it on an everyday basis and use it to improve our lives. In this case, we expanded that courtyard into something that could be used with a nice little water feature that has a nice sound for a cooling effect, and we put in a shelf next to a picture window. They made the window bigger, and on that shelf we planted dwarf lemons, which have done very well for now 17, 18 years in the same pots, which is unusual. So that was the theme of this original renovation in 2003 and 4, is make it a more useful garden, a more attractive garden, and something a little different. Here is our original landscape design that we did in 2003. As you can see, this is the street, and then there's a walk, a proposed walk, which is now reality with a planter, and then you walk up to the front door, and this entire thing is a courtyard with a fountain, beautiful marmalade sky roses right in there, some pots. So here, especially the last few years, Eileen has struggled with this fescue turf, keeping it looking good in the summer and watering it enough. And one of the problems is it seems to always have a problem when it gets so hot in Fresno. There were some larger trees here that became diseased and had to be removed, and those removed all the shade, and once the shade was removed, she started struggling with the turf not looking healthy through the summer. And one of the things that happens, one of the first things that happens when you have unhealthy fescue in hot areas like Fresno, is Bermuda begins to invade it. And we had that here, not so much where I'm standing, but on the park strip. If we were just going to get rid of fescue lawn, we wouldn't need to do this, but to get rid of Bermuda in the fescue, we had to spray it, and we want to kill the roots because we don't want it to come back. So you could either dig it out or you could use glyphosate, and glyphosate is better known as Roundup. And although we try to limit the use of Roundup, it is the most effective way to kill Bermuda all the way to the roots. And we didn't just do it once because we want to make sure we kill the roots, so we did it in this case 2 times, and we allowed there to be a separation of about 3 weeks between the 2 sprayings, 3 weeks to a month. So you can see in this case we've killed the entire park strip, and we're going to replace it with something other than lawn and water it very efficiently. As you can see, there's a large lawn that takes up most of the front yard, and a pretty large lawn all in the parking strip under the street trees. So what I've done is I've highlighted in yellow the lawn we're going to take out, and we sprayed this part because it was infested with Bermuda, and this part was infested with Bermuda, so it's now brown and dead. We'll remove that. Now the second renovation that we're about to embark on here will make it much more water efficient, which is important during these times of water shortages. And also with that water efficiency comes maintenance efficiencies. If we apply less water, we're going to have less problems with weeds, less fungal disease. So you'll see on our plan drawn in December of 2003, it has a fairly large lawn, and this is the lawn that we're going to remove. And then we're going to replace it. I like this idea of interactive gardens, and so even though this is really a very small garden, in addition to the main walk, we're going to put a decomposed granite walk that's going to go from the backyard to this front flagstone walk. On one side, we're going to expand the existing planting and do it in a way that's watered with drip irrigation. And on the other side of the walk, we're going to put in a very water efficient ground cover that we've talked about in other videos called Kurapia. And by doing that, we're going to create something we think even more usable, more functional, less maintenance involved, and much lower in water usage. And in blue, I highlighted the new walk, which is going to go from the backyard to the existing walk, which takes you to the front door. So now it's going to be a garden that has a walk through the front of the yard. On this side of the walk, we'll expand these plantings, and on this side of the walk, we're going to do some type of low maintenance, low water use, easy care ground cover to replace the lawn. So we will have zero lawn, but we'll have plantings, and it'll be like an interactive garden that you can walk through. A big part of a water efficient xeriscape garden is the quality of the soil, and if you have soil that can retain moisture and that can function properly with lots of life in it, you're going to have a more water efficient garden. So we'll be using in this garden lots of blend, which is a combination of optimize, nourish, biosol, and maximize, and we'll be using that to improve the water holding capabilities of the soil. All the products that I've mentioned here, the links are in the description below. You know, when we started our business in 1979, we actually had this as a theme, and we were very interested in water efficient gardens without front lawns, because we thought that lawns were good for playing on and had a certain purpose, but served no purpose other than to look at, and we had lots of other alternatives to look at beautiful things. Our question for you today is, what's your feeling about a front or even a back garden without a lawn? Is that viable? Is it something you would consider? Is it completely out of the question? And how do you feel about big lawns in residential gardens? Are they essential, or are they something that should be avoided? That's the question for you. What's your sense of lawns and their place in residential gardens? Leave your answer in the comments below. We'll announce the winner in next week's video. Be sure to subscribe and follow us so you don't miss anything. We did a previous video about Kurapia, which a lot of you watched, but more of you can watch it, and it's an excellent way to replace a lawn and conserve water in a very low cost and efficient way that doesn't take a lot of maintenance.